Hi, welcome back to ODE, and we are here again for another Friday night video. So let's put the title here in place. So this is the Friday night, let me post it, pen thoughts number 7, and the date is Lisboa, 23 de abril de 2021. And let's start. First, for this video, I hope this one will be a little shorter than usual, but I can never promise that, or sometimes I promise but I don't deliver. So today, for today's video, I chose two pens under the same theme, which is this little thing that you already saw on my channel and these other little things. So we are talking about two Japanese small pens and fat pens. So one of them is the Tombow Zoom 828 FP with a fine nib and Kaweco pearl black ink inside. You may hear some noise on the background, it's the rain, it's raining a lot. And the other pen is one that I just received yesterday, and this is the Platinum Glamour with a medium nib and Kaweco palm green. And these are the two pens that I chose for today. Two short and round pens, very stubby, with these similar shaped nibs. So these are interesting. The Platinum is an older pen, the Tombow is newer, but I think they have the same kind of concept. So these are the pens that I'll be using throughout this video. I want to talk to you now about my previous videos. So my previous videos were, let me check. I wanted to post more videos, but this week was not that easy. One of the videos that I posted last Saturday was this one. It was the Leonardo, let's simplify the name, Pura Grigio. It was a pen that was voted by you for review. Then there are two reviews. No, sorry, there were two unboxing videos, that's what I was going to tell you. And those unboxing videos were one yesterday, these very nice and small Platinum Glamour, and let me just put here two unboxing. So it was the Platinum Glamour and also one Kaweco Sport, and this is the light lavender color, which is the same as the Kaweco collection, but at some point on their production of this special edition, which is Kaweco collection, they made a mistake in the imprint of the caps and they call it Kaweco Sport as the regular pens. But this is a limited edition that has the collection engraved, so this was a mistake. They accepted the pens back or the caps back in exchange for the correct cap, but I got this one from Kaweco for review, and now I needed to buy the pen with the wrong cap just for my collection, and this is a fun thing. I think every collector likes to have a mistaken item. The other pen that came with this one was this magnificent Kaweco Art Sport Pearl Orange, and you can see it has a very nice pearl tone to it. It's really a nice pen. I really like it. And another thing, last video I talked to you about having the fingers and hands stained. There is one thing worse than have the fingers, is to have the nails like with a little dot of ink because you just touched a nib. So that's it, and I really don't like that. So these were the previous videos. Yesterday I was going to post a review, but I received this one that I was waiting for so long, so I had to publish the unboxing, and so the reviews are a little bit delayed. So for the next videos, there will be one of a Kaweco Perkeo light spring, and this was chosen by you. I made those votings and you voted on this one against some other, which I do not remember right now. This is not inked, but this is one that will be reviewed. It should have been posted, but I didn't do it. So maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, I'm not sure. And the other one was the that I decided, this one I think was not your choice, I decided to go for this one, and this is the Lamy Safari Original. It has a very large name. It is Lamy Safari Original Savannah Green. That is already recorded also. Both are recorded and will be posted tomorrow or next week, maybe Monday. I have to choose which one goes tomorrow, which one goes Monday. Maybe this one will go tomorrow. And so these are my next videos. So I will not have many videos for you to choose for my next videos. I have these ones that should have been published already, but I didn't have the time for it. And the videos, the videos that I have for you to choose is from two pens. So let me put here to choose. I have to say one thing about this platinum nib, is that it is very smooth and pleasant to use. Very rigid, but very smooth. Not like the regular platinum nibs that are very feedbacky, and I don't really enjoy them much. So, which reviews can you choose for next video? One is this interesting pen, which is the Moonman M1000 in Walnut, which has a very good box steel nib. And the other one you can choose is this one, this big pen that I showed you several times before, which is the Senator President. So one of these videos will be published next week. Don't really know when I have a little space, maybe only the Saturday, the other Saturday, the first Saturday of May, I'm not sure, but you can choose. One of the next reviews will be of the Senator President or the Moonman M1000. Both are big pens, not small ones like this. The next thing that I talk about in these videos that these Friday night pen thoughts, is the uncommon pen of the day. And today I chose a Rotring pen, the Rotring Core. And I think I have another Rotring pen that may be in some other video of some other Friday. And the Rotring Core is this pen. This is a pen that it is uncommon, not because it is really rare. I think it is quite well known, but there aren't that many people talking about this pen because let's be honest, in a very objective way, if we can put beautiful or ugly in objective way, this pen is not beautiful. It's kind of strange. So this pen was available in several finishes, lots of finishes. I don't really know how many, but lots of them. And they are interesting pens. They have this rubberized cap with Rotring engraved there, very big. This part is like rubber, this part is plastic. Then you have this aluminium barrel and a plastic end to it. And you have ink windows there. These are ink windows. You can see through. If you have a strong light on the other side, you can see through to see the ink level. And the pen has lots of strange, futuristic, almost space-like things engraved. And they have the name, and they have these kind of screw there, which is interesting. And they have, all of them have the name engraved on them or imprinted. And here you can see, it is also on the barrel. Where is that? It's here on the cap, CRD, and also here, CRD. So this is the Coridium color, which is the black. There is also a black and bluish or gray that has another name. And this one, which is red and black, is called, it's not that easy to see here in this one, Rubidium. And it's somewhere down there also, Rubidium. So this is a very interesting pen. And I say this is a very interesting pen because it has a kind of futuristic design. If you ask me, I would say that is maybe a pen from the end of the 80s and the beginning of the 1990s. Actually, it is not. This pen was released in the year 2000, and I don't remember until when it was in production. There is not much information about these more recent pens, so I need to dive in more deeply when I will make a review of these pens. I will do someday. I cannot ink any more pens. I already inked this one. I shouldn't, but I had to ink it, so it's getting a chaos with the pens that I have inked. So these are interesting pens, and when you uncap the pens, they are obviously young pens or school pens. When you uncap it, you'll have this very strange design, and this very strange design is just a way of holding the pen. You have this groove there where you can hold it, and it is a different way from that triangular grip that serves to teach you how to hold a pen, but without that. And then you have quite a big nib for the size of the pen, with small dots there, and it says Germany and Rotring here, and it has an XS, and there were only two nibs available. Both my nibs are the same, and it is XS is the, I would say, it's the small nib, and there is the XL, which is the large nib. So this one is somewhere between extra fine and fine, and the XL is between the medium and the broad. So there were the only choices. This was your school pen. It is a cartridge pen that you can see here. I have here an extra gadget. I will not talk about it now, but it was an interesting pen. It could be posted, and it posts very securely. It snaps in place. You can hear the noise. But it becomes very big and completely top heavy. Otherwise, this is a very interesting pen, and the most interesting thing of all is that it writes really well, and it is comfortable. If not posted, it is very, very comfortable to hold. It's really good. It's a really good pen. If you are thinking about a kind of a school pen, I would say, and if you don't know which you could choose, this is a choice if you want to go for a more uncommon thing. However, be aware that this pen was quite inexpensive, maybe 15 euros when it was released, but now it is hard to find because it is discontinued for a long time, so you may see them for 80 or 90 euros, so it's not that school pen price anymore. One interesting thing I have to say about this pen is that maybe it's my eyes. I will not say this is a copy of any other pen. This is so particular that it's not a copy of anyone, I would say. But if you ask me, in terms of pen genetics, with which pen is this related? I would say with this one, with the Lamy Safari. And why? First, the cap is more bulky than the barrel. It happens in most pens, but this one, that's the case. So this is a bulkier cap. Both have simple, kind U-shaped clips. Of course, this one came after, so if anyone is a copy of the other, would be this one, but I don't believe this is kind of a copy, but I think there is kind of an inspiration. Then in this one you have like a Phillips screw head, and here you have an X screw head, so quite interesting, right? In the Lamy you have an ink window that you can see through from one side to the other, and on this pen you have an ink window where you can see through from one side to the other. In this one you have a cartridge there, end to end, so you cannot see it perfectly. The same happens with this one. Let me put it this way, you can see it. There is one major difference between these two pens, is that this one has a kind of a clear plastic window there. It's not eyedropperable, but you have that ink window and that plastic there, and in the Lamy you don't. Then you uncap the pen, both cap just by pulling the cap, and both have this lip where the cap holds. Both have, I would say, kind of a similar shaped nib. This nib is more similar to the Lamy Ion than the Lamy Safari, but it is much bigger, which is nice. I like to have bigger nibs, and the Lamy is a quite big pen, and I would say it has a small nib. This one has a good size nib for the size of the pen, and these pens tend to teach the young student how to hold the pen, and this one makes the triangular grip that forces you to use the pen in this way, and the Rotring, not by a triangular grip, but using a very special shaped grip, very uncommon. You will use the pen like this. So it will force your grip also. Both have a ring, a plastic ring between the section and the barrel. On the Lamy it may be whichever color it comes on the color scheme of the pen. On the Rotring, of course, it is a red ring because it's Rotring. So this makes sense in a way to me. Both are cartridge converter pens. These take Lamy proprietary or Parker if you want, or Aurora cartridges. These will take international cartridges. So if you ask me, I think after I make the review of this one, it will make some sense to make a versus video between both these two pens. They are not immediately similar, but when you look at the concept, I think the kind of concept is the same. So the uncommon pen of today was the Rotring Core. And now I have two more questions about pens. One is kind of more personal and the other one is more general, and that's why I told you this video may be a little shorter than usual. The first one that first question I wanted to ask you, let me reach here for my book. So the first question I wanted to ask you, as I was saying, was or is, what do you use your pens for? You will say, for writing. Yes, of course, usually it's that, but what do you use them for? Do you use them for writing, or for, it's kind of writing but it may not have a purpose, just for calligraphic exercise, like for art? And if you are using it for art, maybe you are using it for drawing. I'm not sure. What is the use of your pen? And if you use it to write, what do you do with them? Do you write in your workplace with a fountain pen? I do it all the time. I am that crazy guy with a fountain pen that goes to all work meetings and write everything by hand with a fountain pen specifically. And I like to think with fountain pens using different colors. So that's the way I think. I think by writing, so it makes sense. But I also like to go into a more literary thing. I'm not very good at it, of course, I'm not a professional, but I enjoy that, and this is one kind of those examples. This is not a professional book, this is some kind of literary thing that I'm trying. So, this is something that I use my pens for. So, what do you use your pens for? So, what do? You write a journal, you write work stuff, you write your ideas, you have lists for organizing yourself, or are you trying to be a writer? I would say that could be my dream. I actually once got close to that. I wrote a book, and it was somehow fun to do it. It is a book of short stories, so it was an interesting thing that I could do with a cover that is a photo that my brother took, so it has kind of a personal meaning. So if I could, I would write more. That's, if you ask me which is my goal in my life in terms of activities, would be writing. Writing is the stuff that I enjoy more to do. So, do you do this? Do you use it for literary purposes, or just for very practical purposes, or just for writing, like art thing, just for calligraphy because you enjoy doing some calligraphy work? Or eventually, Do you use your fountain pens for drawing? I've seen many people from that urban sketchers movement that I find it quite fun, that use Lamy safaris to use even Indian ink. So they will ruin their pens, but they use it because they like. So does it make sense? What are the uses you have for your pens? Mine is very personal. I really like to do this, to try to go into literary stuff. I made this book many years ago, and I'm working on a theater play, so maybe someday I will have it written. Maybe not. I don't know. With all the YouTube activity, there is no much time left. So it is kind of fun because having a YouTube channel that talks about writing and writing instruments, it takes from me most of the time that I have to write. So it's kind of contradictory. The final question, and yes, we are ending the video in a few minutes, so quite happy today. It's Friday, we are tired, you don't need to see a video of 1 hour. And so the last question is, which kind of nib regarding flex do you prefer? So, what I want to ask you about this is, and this is something that really interests me, I will put the questions on the description below, and then if you could answer me, it would be fun because I like to know this stuff. So, I would ask you, what kind of nib do you like? Do you, in terms of flex, that's what we're talking about, do you like this kind of vintage pen? This is not inked, so I will not be able to show it, but it is a cow lever filler pen, and this has a gold vintage nib that is quite flexy, as you can see. Is this the kind of flexy gold vintage nib that you prefer? Or do you like those nibs? I don't have any. Like these modern modified nibs to be flex, like the nibs of Noodlers, or even those from Conklin Duraflex, which have some cutouts to be more flexy, and Leonardo also has them, like the elastic nibs, or Pineider also have special nibs that have some cutouts to be more flexy, or even the nibs from Montegrappa, they also have some. I don't have any of those, so I cannot show you. Or do you prefer the modern bouncy nib, which we cannot say that's really an old flex, like these William Shakur titanium nib that can have some line variation without being flex, or even the Sailor King of Pen that, let me just show you, this is with no pressure, and if you press, okay, I railroad it there a little bit, I did it too fast, you can really have some line variation. So line variation, it was autofocus, sorry, I will do it again. Okay, this may be running out of ink because it usually doesn't do that. Let me force. Sometimes when pens do this, because they are almost empty, I force the air that is inside the almost empty converter into the pen, so it will force the ink into the feed and nib the small remaining ink. So now you can see it. You can really have some line variation. It's not a vintage flex, but you can have it. So do you like this kind of nib? Or do you like those nibs that are not advertised at all as flexy, but when you try them you can have some line variation, like this Bock nib from the Nettuno 1911. You can it is a regular nib, but if you force it a little bit, you can have some line variation, and I'll be now bleeding through, although no bleeding through. Okay, I was speaking to two sheets of paper. Yes, lots of bleed through in this paper. This is Muji paper. Or even, do you prefer pens that have more rigid nibs, like this? These new Leonardo Jovo nibs are quite rigid, you don't have line variation. If you use the Rotring core, you would see what is a very nice performing nib but very rigid, or even the beautiful Tibaldi. This is the Bononia, Martini Olive, and I will put the link there. There is 10% discount code in Tibaldi's website. I can press it, have some line variation, but not really much. It is a stiff nib, or if we are talking about very, very stiff nibs, we can think about Lamy nibs that will not have any line variation. So which kind of nib do you prefer? I have to say that, first, I have to confess something. I just bought a pen that is not completely inexpensive. It's not the most expensive pens ever, but I like it a lot. And I bought it from a company. I will show it soon when I receive it. I did not receive it yet because it's still being produced, but I will receive it soon and then I will show it to you. They make flexi nibs, and I did something that is like a crime for many people, is that I bought one with a regular no flex nib, because I don't really enjoy flex nibs. I enjoy pens with rigid nibs, and I'm talking about this one, not particularly Lamy, but imagine one of my favorite pens, the Parker 45, has a very rigid nib. I like that. Or I like pens that don't have a rigid nib, like this, the Sailor, but you can write with Sailor King of Pen normally. You just have, you can see this is how it writes normally. You can have some line variation if you do this, but if you don't, you can write perfectly with that. I tried to write once or twice with older, very flexible pens. It is impossible to me, because I don't really have the skills to use those kind of nibs. And you may say, but you may practice. I don't want to. I really don't want to. I don't have the time or the motivation to spend time trying to improve my calligraphy or my flexi nib art or whatever you may call it. So I prefer rigid nibs. Sometimes I like nibs that have some bounce to it, like this one or the Sailor, that you write and you can feel that if you press you can have some line variation, but I don't really use it. I just like to know it's there. So I prefer rigid to bouncy nibs. Some people like the more flexy possible. So I just would like to know what are your thoughts about it. So this is all I had to show you today. Today's video was not that long, so now I will not bother you anymore with today's video. Next week I'll try to make another one. This is very fun for me to do. Please, if you have some opinions, some ideas, some pens that you want me to show to you here on these videos, please let me know. I'll be happy to do it. This is very fun for me to do, so I hope you enjoyed it also. And have a nice weekend, and I'll be here soon again for the next video. Bye!